I see dead people.
And welcome to the Mind Your Movies podcast. I'm Ryan,
I'm Shane.
and today we're talking about all sorts of dead people.
Oh gosh.
uh, yeah, well, we're talking about the IMDb top 250 today.
Yes, we have a very fascinating pairing of films. We have Ryan's pick. I do emphasize Ryan's choice. Out of 250 movies, Ryan chose this one, mostly out of ignorance of not knowing. But we'll have a full discussion of Leon the Professional, and that'll be first because the title of the episode is Leon the Profession Nick Sense, which means I chose The Sixth Sense. So those are the two movies we're going to talk about. If you haven't seen The Sixth Sense, leave. Or, well, you can stick around and listen to like the beginning of the podcast because Sixth Sense will be last. But we're going to get full spoilers. And obviously, The Sixth Sense is a famous movie that if you somehow are listening to this and you haven't had it spoiled, go watch the movie. You'll have a great time. You are one of the lucky few to not know about The Sixth Sense because I feel like it's one of the most famous like plots, basically stories. It's pretty. So if you don't know about it, go watch it and then come back. Before we get into that, is there anything else we should say?
Uh, no, that's it. Well, I should say, actually, we've got new people every week. So if you are new to the show and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about with these picks? So, yeah, at the end of our full episodes, at the end of this episode, we're going to pick our next category for our next full episode. So, and then what we do is we pick a random category. It could be a director, an actor, it could be a genre, it could be
Out of
something.
this cup, if you're on YouTube, I have a cup and there's a bunch of little papers in it, and they all have different categories for
And
our yeah.
we've got all sorts of random stuff in there. IMDb top
Uh,
250.
yeah.
You've got like
Usually a lot of them have like a lot of good options. This one had probably over 200 really good options. And then we went 50-50 on this one.
it is, yeah. So so then we both pick one, and this is actually a common trend that you'll see as you watch if you're joining us now. I often do pick a movie that I've never seen, and then Shane will often pick a movie that Shane just wants to rewatch, which is awesome. It does
Yes.
usually guarantee that we have a good movie.
Yeah, there's usually at least one movie that is better than Leon the Professional.
So that is kind of the setup, and then on our half episodes, we'll reveal what our picks are. So last episode we talked about the back rooms, but at the beginning of that episode we revealed
Yeah.
our picks for the
Yeah, yeah.
IMDb top 250.
Yeah. And if there are any Leon the Professional fans out there, we watched the extended cut. If anyone doesn't has only seen the theatrical, it's a pretty different experience. So we'll get into it. We'll get into full discussion. But before we do that, we do some recent recommendations, some things we've seen recently. We're just going to talk about them real quick, no spoilers or anything. Do you have anything you want to talk about first, Ryan?
Yeah, I'll pull up one thing to bring up real quick is called, I have to get this right, Mike and Nick and Alice. This is a new movie, a new-ish movie. I guess it came out earlier this year, but it's the this year movie from I think it's a Hulu original, and
Yeah.
it's got James Marsden and Vince Vaughn and um uh Isa Gonzalez, and it's about two gangsters. One of them is wants to leave the job, and has fallen in love with a lady. Problem is, it turns out to be the other gangsters, wife or girlfriend, I forget. But and so there's some conflict going on. Other weird thing is it turns out there's actually two of that other guy. And
It's a time travel situation, right?
it is, yeah. So there's oh yeah, and it says right in the description, it's a time machine. All right. I didn't know if that was gonna be a spoiler or not, but
I haven't even seen the movie and I knew that. So
yeah, there you go. So yeah, it's a time travel situation, which means it comes with all of the normal time travel nonsense. And they do mostly just shy away from, they're just like, yeah, whatever, who cares? But like they just kind of slide it away, which I think is the best thing to do when you come up with something like this, is just be like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Keep going. Like you're not gonna convince us, like there are paradoxes that you can't get through. So just
yeah,
roll with it.
Yep. And it's more of a comedy too, right? So
Yeah.
it's yeah. So you liked it.
I liked it. It's fun. It's action packed. It's got some stuff going on. There's a cute cat. Love the cat.
I thought you were
So
gonna say there's a cute cast.
there is. I mean, hey, that too. But yeah, I would totally recommend this movie. It's not going to blow your socks off, but it's a fun watch. So
All
it's
right.
new. I would recommend it. I just saw it on the streaming app, and I was like, might as well throw it on. Kind of threw it on, not expecting to really care much about it, and I enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised.
Nice. There you go. So that's Mike and Nick and Mike and Alice and Joe and Bob. All
That's
right.
it. You got it.
Cool. Uh, the movie I wanted to bring up is American Animals. It's directed by Bart Layton, who did Crime 101 earlier this year, which both of us really liked.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is, I believe, the most recent movie he did before Crime 101, but it came out in 2018, so he had a little bit of a, period where he didn't direct anything for a few years. But it's a hybrid, like fiction and documentary, and it stars Barry Keoghan and Evan Peters and a couple other guys, and it's based on a true story of these college kids who planned a heist of their of a university library in Kentucky, and they have like rare books, and the books are worth millions of dollars, so they are gonna plan to heist the books. And then there are also interviews with the real people who really were involved in, planning this heist. So it's set, it happened in the early 2000s, so it's looking back a little bit. And it's actually really awesome. I thought it was just fantastic. I really enjoyed it. This Bart Layton guy, I I like him. I think he has one other movie that I haven't seen yet, but American Animals, great movie, very entertaining. I would recommend it.
Nice. Awesome. I'm throwing that right on the list. I like this guy too. Um,
Nice.
yeah. Really enjoyed Crime 101 this year and didn't know if he had done much other stuff and never really looked into it. So that's cool.
Yeah, and this is another heist related thing, but a little less you know, Chris Hemsworth in Crime 101 is kind of like everything's planned to a T. Everything never leave a trace. These guys are a little more bumbling fools. But so it's a different approach, and the mixing of like documentary and fiction is actually really well done.
Nice. That sounds really cool.
Yeah. Anything else you wanted to
Um,
mention before we get into the dreaded Leon the Professional?
I've got one more, which is I'm mostly mentioning this as a joke, but I'm going to bring it up anyways. It's called Crack Coon. Um, Crack Coon, like a raccoon.
Right.
Um, and this is not a very good movie.
I'm
However,
shocked.
it's got some charming puppetry, some outrageous special effects, and if you can sit through the egregious racism, homophobia, and uh,
What kind of movies are you bringing to this podcast, Ryan? I mean, geez. You're
and
like, well,
all
there's a good puppet, but
and
it's
all the other horrible things that go on in this movie. It's still probably not worth it. But the reason I wanted to bring it up is actually because Crackoons, I believe, is currently being filmed or whatever. It has a
wow.
Kickstarter. And on the Kickstarter page, there's an option that you can pay. I think it's like $550. It's not even that much money to be killed on the movie. You can go
Oh,
there if you get yourself there. It doesn't include travel. So you
oh,
get yourself there, wherever they're filming
where
it.
are they filming?
I don't know.
Sounds like a Louisiana Bayou type of a vibe.
If I had to guess, I'm gonna say like Pennsylvania or New York or something. It's like in that. It's got that type of my guess for that
Maybe
geography. But
Ohio.
yeah, something in there, whatever. Um, but so if you pay enough money, you can go on set, get credited, and get killed on screen with some pretty gory special effects. That honestly, the special effects and the puppet were
Are
the
you,
coolest thing, and you did interact with both those things.
are you gonna do it?
No, fuck that.
Uh,
But
I mean, it's sounded like not like you sounded like you had
It's
already donated to the Kickstarter.
it
Like you're
sounds
in.
neat. I'm not gonna say I didn't think about it, but
When are they filming? I guess they don't know yet.
yeah, I didn't do that much looking into this, but
All right.
it was cool. The problem is $550 is still a decent amount of money
Yeah.
for me at this stage. And so, but here's something that I wanted to bring up is that I think these types of like low budget, like so bad they're good movies, I think we might start seeing more and more of them with like this kind of crowdfunding uh appeal to them or whatever, like resource where people are trying to get them funded through other people. And so, not too long and we could be movie stars by just paying money.
Yeah, great. Yeah, you can be in Crack Raccoon 3 and you can
Yeah,
get
exactly.
murdered by yeah, that'll really your career will take off after that.
I mean, why not, right? Who
Yeah.
wouldn't want to nominate me for an Oscar after I die on screen?
Good point. All right, last thing I wanted to mention. Speaking of the Louisiana Bayou, I rewatched The Waterboy. Great movie. The Waterboy is great. It's like 90 minutes. There's laughs throughout, a lot of iconic lines, and it's a great movie. So I rewatched Billy Madison a few years ago, and I was kind of like, I don't know if it held up as much as I had remembered, from I liking it back when I was like 13 or whatever. And The Waterboy holds up.
Nice.
So there you go.
I um I honestly don't remember liking it as a kid, but I don't remember why, and I don't really remember much about it. So
Interesting. Maybe you were just like a lame child.
yeah, that's true. So there it is. You heard it here
Didn't like Bobby
first.
didn't like Bobby Boucher?
Yeah, I don't
He's
remember, man.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I mean, sometimes you watch a movie as a kid and you're like, there's like one thing you don't like, and then it's just kids are weird with stuff
Yeah,
like that. They'll latch on to something for like one specific reason, or they'll do the opposite for some random reason.
yeah. For
Yeah.
example, if I watched Crackoon as a kid, I probably could have gotten rid
Yeah.
of all the other
You-
negatives that I had about the movie and been like, cool puppet, dude.
Maybe, yeah, or maybe you'd be smoking crack right now. I mean, you don't know what the timeline could have brought you. Oh
Yeah.
man. All right.
What a wild recommendation. If anyone actually watches Crackoon, by the way, I'm so sorry. I
You
didn't.
don't. It sounds not
Yeah.
good. But uh all right. Is it time now? Thanks, Ryan, for bringing us so many great pieces of cinema. Moving on to our topic for the episode, Leon the Professional. This is your pick. 1994 movie directed by Luc Besson, who we're going to talk a lot about. Ryan, what was your experience with this movie? You had never seen this before. I had seen this maybe like back in high school, and I don't know. I believe I probably saw the theatrical version, which was the main version released in the US. I don't remember though. And I remember thinking it was just okay, and I didn't really get what all the hype was about, and I kind of just moved on from it, didn't have strong feelings about it. But this was, over 10 years ago, probably. So, that's my only experience with the movie going in. And you had never seen it, right?
I'd never seen it, and I should defend a little bit why I picked it real quick. Um, so I picked this because, fun fact, it's the first in the IMDb top 250 list. If you're just going down the list, that is not in the Letterboxd 500 list. So I looked at Letterboxd, I looked at a list of the top 250, and I kept going all the way through until I found one that did not have the little crown icon. Um, Turns out picking one that is not not renowned on another site was maybe not the best idea. But
No. And the reasons it's not renowned will make for an interesting discussion.
yeah, I think it is interesting that there is some discrepancy in the IMDb top 250 and Letterboxd 500, whatever. And that's what I was looking at I was trying to find
I
something that looks at the differences there.
I see that, and I don't. I think the fact that the movie was so popular when it came out and like into the 2000s, I think does make sense in some ways, especially in America, where I think nowadays, I think Letterboxd is a lot more updated and
Hmm.
IMDb there's probably a lot of people who don't even use IMDb, haven't updated. I feel like IMDb was the go-to fan movie site in the 2000s and into like maybe into the 2010s. But then they shut down the message boards and Letterboxd came out, and now I feel like Letterboxd is where it's the most updated version. And I think this shows the huge change over time of like the internet and our access to information, where you would have people
Mm.
in the 90s when this movie came out, you would have just watched it and you would have been like, you would have watched the theatrical version, which has approximately 25 minutes cut out of it from the international version. And you would have been like, okay, that was like a uh, cool action movie, had kind of a father-daughter dynamic. And all right, like that, I like that movie. And you wouldn't know anything about Luc Besson's personal life. You just would be like, all right, Luc Besson, I don't know, he's just a guy. It's just a name. You don't have access to that information at all. So, but
Yeah.
now with the internet, you can just go to his Wikipedia. You can see all about Luc Besson's personal life, and you can, and it's really hard once you know that. It's hard to view the movie without, outside of that lens. So I think it does make sense that it's sort of maybe endured on IMDb, but on Letterboxd, it's sort of, I mean, it's still pretty highly rated on Letterboxd. It has a 4.0
Yeah.
average rating, which is quite high. But it's definitely not as universally beloved on the more updated website.
Yeah. And I think that makes a lot of sense. And also, now, right? Like Letterboxd, like you said, it's more updated and stuff. And today, the extended cut is more accessible than the
Yeah.
other one, at least the way I watched it, which is, it is free on Pluto TV or something right now with ads. And that's how I watched it. I was like, whatever. And that's the extended cut. And if you and I went to one of the renting, I went to like Fandango or whatever, and they have the extended cut on there to rent. I didn't want to rent it, but and so I think it's interesting that the extended cut, it's uh it's such a different movie. This is every once in a while you see people popping up on Reddit or whatever with all their ideas of like how to improve Letterboxd. And one thing that I've seen a lot is different cuts for movies. And I
Mm,
think frankly that's hard to keep track of and
mm.
I'm not sure it would like look very good in the UI. Hey, like I'm not against it. I'm not
I
against it. But
I think it could be cool if you could specify which version.
yeah, I do that in my tags, but I do understand like this is a movie where I feel like the extended cut and the regular cut, the ratings would probably be very different, would be my guess. But you can't tell, right? How you cannot know that.
Yeah.
And so this might be one of the best maybe one of the best arguments for that type of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I think it'd be cool if there was some sort of a way to just go to the movie. The movie maybe just has one
Right.
page, but you're able to toggle between the cuts or something like that.
Yeah.
But maybe there's like a default version, and then there could be a section for alternate versions and something like that. I don't know. I think
Yeah.
it's a good idea.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and they're doing like that the punch card thing. Did you see this?
No.
They're introducing a new thing. I think when the Odyssey comes out, they're introducing punch cards, virtual digital punch cards, whatever they're called. And it lets you, it's essentially like, I think, to me, it sounds like a glorified tag to say the format that you watched the movie in. And
Oh.
so if you saw the Odyssey in 70 millimeter IMAX, you can note that somehow more specifically than before, right?
Hmm.
Um, and so it would be interesting. I don't know what that'll look like yet, but I saw just the announcement. And it'd be interesting, depending on what that looks like, if that can be expanded somehow into having, it's still the one,
Yeah.
like you were saying, it's one page, but then you can maybe view, okay, how do people that saw this in 70 millimeter IMAX rate it versus how do people,
Mm.
and I don't know if the punch card, I doubt it actually lets you filter like that, but
That'd be
I think
cool.
that'd be pretty cool, right? And it's almost, I mean, I can imagine it being almost as simple as just letting you filter the ratings, look at the average ratings, filtered by tags, right? Not that
Hmm.
everyone tags something, but then
Yeah,
it
that's the
might,
thing.
you know, yeah, it might encourage
I
people
mean,
to use
it
tags. I
might
don't know.
work to have just everyone and then like specifically tagged with
Right.
theatrical or extended, like whatever. You could pick maybe like on a drop down menu. So then the the overall rating could reflect people who didn't choose anything and then people who chose specifically. So it's just everyone. And then you could also go more specific. That could be cool.
Right. Something like that. And then it also lets you like filter, like
Yeah.
I have all sorts of tags in my, but like the tags don't let you do much as they are right now. Like I can't look at
Yeah.
all of the movies I've seen tagged for the podcast and see like an average rating for them or anything. So if they
Hmm.
did more with the tags, I could see that being an
Yeah, you
option.
just see the list of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which isn't very useful. But
Hmm. Yeah. All right.
um
Well, we're talking around the
anyways.
movie,
Yeah, well,
but I wonder why. Yeah, this is yeah, I mean, I watched it again, and the yeah. So Luke, I think we just have to talk about Luc Besson because in I guess the so we know for sure his second wife is Maiwen. I don't know if that's how you pronounce her name. She's like a singer and actress, and they apparently started a romantic relationship, I guess we could call it, when she was 15 and he was about 31, and then she was pregnant and they were married when she was 16 and he was 32. And I believe it's pretty, I don't think this is just a rumor, but that they met when she was 12 years old. And I think she has said that their relationship inspired this movie. I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn. And not to mention Luc Besson has other allegations that happened, more recently. But even taking those out, we know for sure that and then that he did that. And then I don't know if you looked at the original script at all. But there's a particular scene in this movie where so I tried to find the original script and I think I found a legitimate like the original script, maybe not like first draft obviously, but
yeah.
a version of the script for the movie, and it specified at the beginning of the movie that Matilda, played by Natalie Portman, very good performance, very
Yeah.
Natalie Portman, very good. Uh, she's innocent in this situation, obviously. She the character Matilda is specified to be 12 years old. And then in the movie, the scene where so after he saves her from Gary Oldman, uh, she like comes out in the dress and she's like, I want to have sex with you. And then he's like, nah, we can't. And then they just lay in the bed together. And then the scene ends. In the original script, they actually have sex and it is described only in positive ways. It's not described as anything bad. It's described only to be a positive thing. And it's one of the worst things I've ever read. I wanted to burn my eyes out, wanted to put bleach in my eyes. It was horrible. And yeah, so Luc Besson, this movie is just the fantasy of a pedophile. There's a helpless 12-year-old girl who needs help, and it's yeah, it's uh, I couldn't view it any other way than this is like completely vile and disgusting. And yeah, I think that's what the movie is. Not to mention the scene where she dresses as like Madonna
Oh
and
man.
Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, just truly vile and disgusting. So yeah, could this movie hated it, garbage, would not recommend it.
And both those scenes, I believe, are not in the theatrical cut. The theatrical cut,
Mm.
whoever did the editing in the theatrical cut, like when this movie was going to be released, they were like, why don't we just get rid what let's just scrub this of the pedophilia. Yeah. And it's like
Yeah,
actually it turns into what I assume, right? I haven't actually seen the theatrical cut, but I assume that it turns into kind of uh a warming message of like fatherly, found fatherly love, right? Something like that.
yeah.
I,
And I think I saw the theatrical version originally because I remember thinking it was weird. Like she's wearing like short shorts and it's kind of weird, but I was like, and it's like, it's weird. This is a old man with a younger girl, but whatever. But I didn't think it was like this bad.
right.
And maybe that was just me being younger and not knowing the context of Luc Besson's personal life and all that. But yeah, knowing all that and this movie's just like absolutely terrible. Yeah.
It's also worth saying that I saw somewhere, and I hope this is uh not, I hope this is from a valid source. I can't just fact check on the spot here, but
Hmm.
I saw somewhere along my research here that Natalie Portman did say that she felt sexualized during this performance, and it's obviously like her breakout thing. Um,
I think also she said like maybe in response to the movie and stuff, like people just because she was, young
mm,
movie star, so people sexualized her
right,
in general also as
right,
well.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think, and so there's these scenes in the movie too where you get these like really dramatic close-ups between the two characters, like just really right in on the eyes, and it feels very uncomfortable. I don't even know how to describe it, right? Like scenes like, even not though thinking of like those scenes that are on the most extreme end of like the anything having to do with the bed or dressing or anything like that, but just like when they first start essentially just first interacting and they're at the table, and so he saves her, right? Her family gets killed, he saves her, and he's a hitman, right? Blah blah blah. But they're at the table at his apartment, and you just get like this really long close up of her eyes, and then his eyes, and then of her face, and then of his face, and then it's like, okay, this is really weird. It's like out of context, right? And then if it doesn't build on that stuff, I can see how it just is like I can see that there could be that through line of like fatherly love, and that's sort of what I was trying really hard to read into it as going into the movie, and I found that hard kind of even from those earlier moments because I think of the context. But you get to a point where you can't even, I don't even think it's, I think that reading that as the outcome when you've got all the way through the movie feels very naive,
Yes,
even
and
without, even not knowing
especially
the context. Maybe I don't
yeah,
know.
especially the extended version.
That's what I mean.
And
Yeah,
then yeah, and then seeing the original script, it's like clearly that was the intention, and then they had to sort of even tone it down from there slightly when making it, and then cut it even more for the American release. So yeah, I mean, I think it's also kind of an interesting thing where like this movie is kind of a good like a good argument for auteur theory, I think, in that this is clearly Luc Besson's vision. He wrote it, he directed it, and the fact that he is a sexual predator is like, oh yeah, this is the fantasy of a sexual predator. That's what the movie is. And then there are other situations I feel like where, for example, like Chinatown with Roman Polanski. And it's like Roman Polanski did something horrible. We know, obviously there are other situations where people have been accused of things and there's a little more question marks, but it's like Roman Polanski, we know he did a horrible thing. And Chinatown, it might be easier to separate the art from the artist because it's not purely his vision. Like it's written by Robert Towne, and it doesn't, it doesn't as directly connect. This one is like the most direct, like yeah, it just it's right there.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
no way to separate it because the pedophilic like fantasies in the movie are just right there throughout the whole thing, and it's actually a core part of the movie is their relationship, and the fact that it is portrayed in this like starting to be a romantic thing is just like disgusting. So yeah.
yeah. I will say I also really tried hard to separate the art from the artist because I also will say that usually in movies I try to do that more than in other things. I know everyone has their own, you can ask 100 different people how they do this, and everyone says it differently probably. But um, for me, right, it's like so many people went into making a movie that if the director was a scumbag, that doesn't always mean that you should throw out the movie, right?
It's
For me, right? I don't know. Again, everyone's different, but
I
it's
think it's a
really hard with this one. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I think it's a case by case scenario. Like it could be one actor in a supporting role, and it's like, well, can you never enjoy? Maybe some people they can't. They're like, oh, this guy's in
Yeah,
the movie, that ruined it for me. But I think for other people, they can kind of be like, okay, that's one role. The other
right.
people are not involved in it. So I think it's kind of a case by case basis, and this is just a case where it's like impossible for me to separate any of that.
Yeah. The I think that like I and so, really trying to in this movie, there's a point where it just becomes really hard. You're watching it and it really feels like you have to be blind to not be seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
And this again, I like all of this is with the extended cut, right? I wish I just didn't fucking watch the extended cut because I probably would have liked this movie. Watching actually the first that there's like this opening action scene and it's fucking awesome. The
Yeah,
He clears out this
it's fine.
like apartment in a high
It's
rise.
not
I think
that.
it's pretty sick. I think it's
It's
pretty
fine.
sick.
Yeah, it's
The
fine.
the the window shade comes down, the metal shade, and then he's
Yeah.
shooting inside. And and it's and they're like, oh, and they're talking about multiple people all the time. They're like, they've blocked off all the exits because they think it's a bunch of people. And it's like,
Yeah.
and the action is like pretty tame on screen. Like you don't actually see a lot of the action on screen in that early thing. You don't see a lot of like there's
It's
not
a
a lot
lot
of like
of he's
yeah.
very hidden. Leon is hidden through the whole thing and he's killing the people. And you're right, it is a cool action scene.
And it feels very tense too, to the point where like the guy has his gun, he's walking through and he's like visibly shaking and stuff.
Mm. And
And
he pops up
um
behind him with the knife.
yeah. And so
Yeah.
it's kind of a sick scene and it's pretty cool. And I think there's a lot of high tension. And even in the next kind of big scene we get is the 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 who turn out to be the corrupt DEA agents are kind of giving the guy a hard time and trying to you know whatever. And it feels like a very tense scene when they're confronting him about thinking that he cut the dope. He's like, it's just the two guys, and one of them has the music in. He ends up being the main bad guy, Stan, I think. I don't know. But
I don't know.
yeah,
Gary
but
Oldman,
yeah,
his character. Yeah.
exactly, yeah. And and I felt like that scene was very tense. And then you get the scene when they're shooting up the main family's place, and I thought that scene was pretty tense and pretty good. The and the way that everyone's acting, the guy that's at the door, he's like shaking as he's holding the gun to the door in case anyone comes out. The guy in the room with the kid, when the kid runs, he's like just shooting through the door, like or shooting through all the walls, like not even paying any attention. And it's very chaotic. It's like exactly what you think that type of thing would be. It's very tense, very chaotic. All the way up until there, I was really I was like, this movie's sick. I can see why this is in the Letterboxd 250 for sure. Like, sorry, the IMDb top 250. I'm like, why does Letterboxd not have this? I'm like, this is pretty awesome. Now, obviously, I actually did know more of the context because you told me, but like,
I did, yeah.
but up until this point, I
I
was fully into the movie still.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it makes. I think it's good that we're talking about the extended version because I think the extended version is the artist's original intent,
Yeah,
and that's what's fucked up about it is that the artist's original intent is for this to be a pedophilic fantasy, and that's what it is. And yeah, the theatrical version is just a censored version to make it acceptable in society, basically. So I don't know. I usually am like, well, yeah, we should just watch the closest to the director's original intention. Obviously, that's also a case by case thing. It's different for every movie, I guess. But yeah, this. So I think we watched the one that is closest to the director's vision, which is horrible,
yeah,
disgusting, and vile. So yeah,
yeah. Everything after. So I have notes for this movie, and everything after um that scene when they've killed that family, everything after that is literally me pointing out pretty fucked up shit that is just like hard, uncomfortable, and hard to watch. Honestly, like it's gross. This is not a
yeah.
movie to watch the extended cut for, but I
Don't
really,
watch any cut though.
yeah, I
Don't
feel,
watch the theatrical cut because it's just a neutered version of the same thing.
yeah,
Like at that point, you're just sticking your head in the sand. At this point, obviously, if you watched it back in the day, it's a little different because that was the easily accessible version. But it's like, What are you gonna watch? Fucking like Birth of a Nation that just cut out all the racist parts? Like at that
Yeah,
point, you're not watching Birth of a Nation. You're watching a different movie.
right. I see what you're saying, but a different movie that has a lot of the same elements here could have been like if this movie, if you just replace Matilda's character with an adult, this
Right.
could be a cool movie.
Or if it was directed by a different person, written and directed by different people. But that's not what it is.
Right. But
So
and it's why the extended cut feels like such a different thing maybe than the theatrical. And I'm saying all this, I haven't even seen the theatrical, but I can see that the theatrical, you come into the theatrical cut, you don't know the context. Clearly that's why this has a higher IMDb rating, right? Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I don't
And
know. I
I,
like if I just watched the theatrical, I would obviously not feel as negatively about this movie.
yeah, yeah, right. And I think that makes sense for people who didn't even know. I think once you know the truth of it, then to stick your head in the sand and watch the theatrical version is kind of ridiculous to me. That's just not how I operate. But I definitely understand why people would see the theatrical version and be, people like the action scenes and Gary Oldman's performance is kind of he's doing a lot. I don't know that it's that good in some ways, or his character's not very well written. There's really nothing to him. He's just generic evil crazy guy, and his performance it's just a lot of acting. But it's fine, whatever. And so I get why people liked it at the time, but at this point, it's like, oh, I mean, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, his character feels very like just a supervillain where there's really nothing to it. It's just spooky,
Yeah, but
like
like
creepy,
even
bad.
supervillains usually have a motivation. We don't really know. It's like
Yeah, this
none of
guy's
what he
just
does really makes any sense at all.
yeah,
A guy took 10%, he cut the cocaine by 10%, so you're gonna murder an entire family, and now is that not gonna bring a lot of attention to your operation? You know what I mean? Like you're putting this all, and I get it, he's like crazy and on drugs and whatever, but like whatever. It's fine. It's a silly character.
yeah. Well, everything in this movie is definitely in the extremes, anyways. Like
Yeah.
there's a scene when he's like literally on top of a door. I get like he's like clinging to the door
Toward
wall.
the
Like
end,
yeah, toward the
he's like
end.
upside down. He like pops down upside down, if that's
Yeah, and there's so much in this movie that just feels very extreme, very exaggerated, right? Like
yeah.
obviously none of this actually
Yeah.
makes any sense, but
It felt
yeah,
very comic booky to me. Like even that
yeah,
opening sequence, there's a lot of the shots just looked like they could have been frames in a graphic novel type of a thing.
yeah,
So yeah, I think that's just part of the style.
yeah. I can see that.
So yeah, I gave it half a star, hated it. Can't justify giving more than half a star. So
Yeah, I had a hard time even deciding what to do for this one because some people, for example, I know out there like just won't rate a movie like this. Um, where like the yeah, we've talked a lot about it, and I didn't know what to do, and I was like, do I not rate this? Do I give it a half of a star? Do I rate it acknowledging the parts that I did like, right? Like the action sequences and stuff. And this is my caveat to say I really don't know what I'm doing here, right? Like I I talk about movies on a podcast. Doesn't mean I know what
you
I'm doing,
you stepped in shit without
Yeah.
noticing last week when you chose this one.
Yeah. So exactly. And so I'm setting a precedent here for the podcast and I'm not going to rate this movie.
Whoa,
Um
okay.
yeah.
I had the same thought, and I was like, well, we have the rating recap, so what? I went for half a star. I was also like,
Yeah.
I don't think two cool action sequences justify the fantasies of a sexual predator and the sexualization of a 12-year-old girl. So I'm like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, am I gonna give it an extra star because I had a cool action scene? I'm like, well, no, it doesn't really. There's really nothing that could make up for that.
Yeah.
So
It
that's why half a
is.
star made sense to me. But I get why you just wouldn't rate it. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know, right? Like I just don't know what I'm doing with this one. It feels bad. I've stepped in poop and I don't know what to do. And I'm scraping it off my shoe the best way I can.
Yeah.
No, I've and
And Luc
there's
Besson
movies,
is the poo.
yes. And there's movies, I think it's fair to say there's movies when there's like allegations and stuff that you don't know the full thing. There's movies when things feel, or even when, again, when the director is a bad person, just a straight up shitty person that's done awful things. But the movie doesn't have anything to do with that. And I'm not saying that's always good, right? You can think however you want about those situations, but those are different situations. And I've never found myself feeling so much where like I don't feel like I should make a rating for this movie like this, where like usually I'm like, well, it's not like this really connects with the person's vision, or it's not like this movie isn't saying some, for example, some other movie is not saying something about the director's awful thing they've done. This movie is very much just about that.
Yeah.
And like, man, I wish that I wish a lot of things. I wish I didn't watch this movie. I wish I didn't pick this movie. I wish that the director didn't make this
uh,
movie. Um, yeah,
yeah.
it's amazing to me. I think that it must. I mean, I say that I think it's like lingered on IMDb. The problem is that on on Letterboxd it is still pretty highly rated, and I don't know if that's people not knowing the backstory, or again, I mean, everyone treats these types of situations differently. This is just a hard one, I think, with the like if you didn't watch the extended cut, you didn't know about those extra scenes, maybe it would be a totally different experience, even knowing the backstory, because it's like it doesn't really feel like that, maybe, right? I don't know, because that's what I saw. And so it's like, damn, this is what the director wanted you to, this is not even what the director wanted you to see, because you're talking about the script here, and it's like,
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah. I see what you're saying because yeah, that's how I felt about it. Where if someone uh was involved in making a movie and it didn't really have anything to do with it and it was unreal, but the fact that it's such a core, it's literally what the movie's about because
yeah,
the action plotting of it all is really, oh, I mean, there's the beginning with the drugs, and then the rest of it is like Leon is training her, and then to basically he's gonna get revenge for her. So it's all about their relationship, like the entire movie. So
yeah,
if it was a different movie with a different director and an alternate reality, then maybe it would have been a cool father and daughter action movie. But it's not. It so yeah, it's I think half a star made the most sense for me, but
yeah,
I get why you didn't want to rate it.
yeah. I think, and a half star I think makes sense. Like I think, yeah, this is just a really sticky, gross movie, and I would not recommend it. Also, uh, the other thing about at the end of this movie, um, he does profess his love for her. So it's like, I don't know,
Right. And
man.
I think in the theatrical, it's a little more like just it's not necessarily portrayed as romantic
Right.
love.
Totally.
But
And yeah,
in the extended version, and especially the original script is fucking disgusting. I found one version of it and I was like, that's so crazy. That can't even be real. And I found another one that looked like it was just a like the actual like someone
like
just took a
photocopied
pic,
it,
yeah, basically a
Xerox.
photocopied the digitized the
Yeah.
script basically. So I was like, this looks pretty legit, and it's insane. Also insane that like that would be a movie that's getting made in the 90s with a script where there's a sex scene with a 12-year-old and an adult man. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not not a good pick from Ryan.
No, but you know what? We talked about it. There we go. It's in the rear view. It's done.
Yeah.
So what's up with the rating recap with the no rating? I mean, does this because although this isn't really a public thing anyway, but we have our stats page. Is this gonna like affect that?
Well, the rating recap as it is. Uh yeah, so we have like a stats page that now correlates, what did we rate it and all that stuff. Um and I guess
Can you just
so
put NA like not applicable for your rating or something, and
that's
it
what I
just won't
did.
apply?
Right now, the like math equations do not like the fact that there's not a math value there. I can fix that and just do it with just one value because it's trying to like add two values, but there's not a second one.
Hmm.
Um, but I can give you the regular recap anyways. So Letterboxd has this movie at 4 out of 5. Rotten Tomatoes critic score has this at 76%, and audience score has it at 95%. And IMDb has this at an 8.5. So the recap here, it comes to an 8.4 out of 10, which is very high. Let me see if I can just quickly change this because this does make this, of course, obviously, probably the highest possible change. Like, oh yeah,
Discrepancy between my rating and the average rating.
discrepancy between yours and the average, and also just discrepancy between the podcast and the average, since it's only counting yours right now,
Hmm.
which is a negative 7.9 out of 10
Yeah.
off, which makes sense. Yeah. The recap's an 8.4 and you rated it at 0.5.
Oh, and it's counting yours as zero. So
It's
it's
just not counting mine, so it's only taking yours. Yeah.
right. So it count, but yeah, it doesn't go. It's counting mine as 0.5 out of 10 and not
Oh yeah, it should
1
be.
out of 10.
Yeah, let me
But
actually.
regardless, it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because yeah, so it is counting mine as zero. Whatever. Who cares? This
That's fine.
movie,
This movie deserves a zero.
this movie should be our greatest average against the
Yeah.
recap
If
because
it, if I could have given it a zero, I would have given it a zero because there's nothing that can bring any positives to this movie with this director with this vision. It's
yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I feel like yeah, damn. All right, let's talk about a good movie.
yeah, time for the Sixth Sense. All right. Uh thank goodness that's over with. I've been like dreading like having I when you picked it, I was like, I'm dreading watching this.
Well,
And then
all
I
right.
dreaded talking about it. And now it's done and it's over with. And
Yeah.
I never have to think about it again.
Also, when I picked it, you did say something along the lines of, I, "There's nothing," and I know this was like you hadn't seen it for a while and stuff, and you saw the theatrical cut, but you did say something along the lines of, "There's not really any of that in the movie," or something.
I
Uh,
don't know if that we'll have to look at the
you
tape.
said
I don't know
something.
about
You said
that.
something along those lines because I was like, I was not. I was not expecting some of those scenes, which I maybe like if you saw the theatrical cut, yeah, it
I
didn't have any of
basically was
those.
trying to tell you, hey, you can change this if you want, but that's yeah, it
Yeah,
is what it is. I also hadn't seen it in a long time.
yeah.
But yeah.
Well, that will go on history in the Mind Your Movies podcast. I surely hope as the
Yeah.
most uncomfortable movie we've ever had to watch for the
And
podcast.
hopefully this week we're gonna get Nazi movies. I'm gonna pick Triumph of the Will.
Yeah,
um
excellent.
all right. That still would be at least that would have historical value. Geez. All right.
Wait, dude. We're not going to go back to that. Actually, yeah, let's move on.
What?
Yeah.
At least Lenny Riefenstahl is not a pedophile. Jeez. All right. Moving on. Now I'm stepping in the shit. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so Sixth Sense. What a movie. Oh, thank goodness we get to talk about a great movie. Yeah, I picked The Sixth Sense. I also hadn't seen this one in a long time, probably since high school again. And this might have been my first time watching it. I don't know if I knew oh yeah, if anyone is still around, thank you for listening. We appreciate it. Get out of here. Stop if
Yeah.
listening if you have not seen The Sixth Sense. If you don't know what The Sixth Sense is, you are one of the lucky few who doesn't know what The Sixth Sense is about. It's from 1999, directed by M. Night Shyamalan. It's about Bruce Willis as a child psychologist, and he gets well, at the beginning of the movie, he has a failed patient, and then he gets a new patient, and he's trying to help this kid in a way he couldn't help this other kid. That's the basics of it. It's an awesome movie. Go watch it and come back once you've seen the movie. I'm sure you agree that this is a great movie.
Well, yeah, totally. This movie's
Cool.
awesome. Um,
Nice. Another M. Night in the Mind Your Movies books.
yeah, we've watched a
Uh,
lot of it. Is M Night? M Night's one of our most watched.
Yes, we've so I think on the letterbox I have it that we've done four Nolan movies, four Miyazaki movies, and three Shyamalan movies.
Wow. I have a feeling Shane's gonna be picking Shyamalan soon.
I I mean, well, sir, he has a new movie coming out in like February of next year. I've already read the book that it's based on, so I mean, we'll probably cover it, even if it's maybe it'll be bad. Who knows? He's just the most fascinating director of the highest highs and the lowest lows. I don't know that there's
Totally.
another director with as much
Range
like
or like,
ranging
yeah.
quality
It's
of
like,
like, oh, this is like an incredible, like all-time great movie, and then you could watch something else and be like, that was terrible. That was really, really bad.
yeah,
And I think
so much
he's
ambition.
yes, a lot of ambition, and I think he's also a great comeback story of having this like he made like Praying with Anger is kind of his small student film, and then he made Wide Awake, which was kind of taken away from him by Harvey Weinstein. And then this was a key, I know, right? And this is a huge, like insane success. Like wrote the script, people liked the script, and then he was able. This just shot his
Yeah,
career trajectory. And then he made some other movies that people liked, and I love Signs, I like The Village, and then he had a couple of bad ones. Went into Last Airbender and After Earth, and it looked like it was just full tank all the way down. And then he came out of the depths like a phoenix rising. He's back. And he's back to making good, entertaining movies. So pretty cool
yeah,
like career trajectory. And I seem to like the guy. Like he just I don't know. I like him.
yeah. And I will say some of his movies. I don't know if everyone would agree with you on them being the highs of the highs, but
I
this is
mean,
one that I think
yeah.
is pretty unanimously, well liked. I mean, this movie's awesome. It's very iconic. This movie launched him obviously into fame, like you were saying. Also, what's his name? Haley Joel Osment, right?
Haley Joel Osment, one of yeah, incredible.
Yeah,
I
and
think
and
maybe the greatest child performance of all time.
yeah, he does so good here. I mean,
It's incredible.
and
And the entire movie like rests on his shoulder. Obviously it's also Bruce Willis, but like he needs to carry so many scenes with multi-layered elements of being able to watch it on the first way through without knowing what's going on and then being able to watch it a second time through knowing what's going on and understanding all the puzzle pieces and for it to hold up on multiple viewings like and he was only I think 11 years old when they made the movie. Incredible.
yeah, and he goes on obviously to work with like Spielberg and stuff too in
AI.
AI.
Yeah.
Um and so this movie launches him too, right? I mean, this movie's just it just does a lot, right? For the people involved in it because of how well it does.
Yeah, Toni Collette. This was, I mean, she was in like a few movies before this, like Muriel's
Yeah.
Wedding, but this was, she was nominated for Best Supporting Actress, and this was really, I mean, she's also gives a fantastic performance, and yeah, it's like super highly rated. It's in the, actually, it's not. I don't think it's in the Letterbox top 500.
Yeah, this is funny. These are both movies that are
Yeah,
not in the Letterboxd top 500. Wow.
yeah.
I could have picked this one.
Yeah, that would have been nice. And I could,
um
but yeah, it's number 146 on the IMDb top 250, and it was nominated for six Oscars.
yeah,
Funny enough,
Haley Joel Osment get a nomination?
yep,
That's
he was.
that's awesome.
It was
What a yeah.
nominated for Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor for Haley Joel Osment, Best Supporting Actress for Toni Collette, Best Director for M. Night, Best Original Screenplay for M. Night, and Best Editing for Andrew Monshine. I think that's how you say his name. So yeah, six Oscar nominations, didn't win any. Funny enough, lost to American Beauty, a movie about Kevin Spacey having a crush on a 17-year-old girl in his midlife crisis. So a lot of the 90s. What a time, huh?
What a fucking time.
Imagine if this
Oh
would have been
man.
nice if the Sixth Sense won instead, but
Yeah, totally. This yeah. Anyways. All right. We got to be looking at the good stuff here. This is so yeah, lots of nominations. This movie does a lot. This movie totally has to play on those multiple layers of stuff going on. Although I will say, so talking a little bit about personal experience seeing the movie here, I've seen this movie more than once, but I don't remember my first experience with this movie, obviously. So not obviously, I guess. Sorry, I don't know why I said that, but yeah, fuck you if you didn't know. I don't. Um,
Well, but
today,
also it's so culturally
yeah,
prominent that it's like it's always been around, you know?
right. And so like today, I feel like not a lot of people can actually go into this movie not knowing. I mean, that's from one perspective. I'm sure that a lot of people that just aren't on the internet or whatever and find the movie, but like even that quote at the very beginning, I see dead people is such a an iconic quote that's pretty late in the movie, right? And it's kind of, you
Well,
know,
it's like
uh,
halfway through.
yeah, and like half the movie though, we don't even see that he sees dead people. Like
Yeah,
there's a lot of buildup of what's wrong with the kid, right? All this stuff.
right.
And um and obviously the ending spoiler, I think, has become so culturally like in the zeitgeist of today that like a lot of people know it without having seen the movie. And so it's hard for me to like think back and even think about how that hit me as a kid. Or even if it did hit me, like it's possible I just watched it and was like, whoa, what's happening to him? Like
Yeah.
but certainly watching it today and knowing and just watching through every scene knowing is such an interest it's such a unique experience in a film where it's so uh it both works so well and also like I don't know, there's also just the joy of the movie is just really good without having to overanalyze it too. But yeah, it just works really well with those scenes.
Yeah, 100%. And what rewatching it, you noticing all the little details. And it's pretty incredible, like when you're rewatching it, how it seems so obvious, but no one would have ever guessed. No one guessed it. That's
Yeah.
why the twist ending worked so well, because no one expected it. So it's like the perfect magic trick where it works on the first viewing and then on the repeat viewings it still work. I mean, it's different, but it still all holds together. There's not a bunch of loose threads where you're like, oh, well, that doesn't really make sense or anything. Like it all actually completely makes sense within its own, logic.
Yeah. It is interesting. So here's the thing. Well, we haven't said the spoiler yet, so I guess it's worth just saying. We've already warned people to go watch the movie and stuff. This is
Yeah.
like, if you don't know the spoiler somehow, now is not the time to be listening to the podcast.
Yeah, right.
So, anyways, yeah. So Bruce Willis is dead. He died in the beginning, and
Mhm.
that's what gets revealed at the very end. But it's interesting. One thing that I was thinking about a little bit was Bruce Willis's days when we're not seeing him with the kid, or with his wife, right? What the hell is this guy doing? Like he
I
he
it
can't interact with anyone.
no. I think they kind of say that he's losing track of time. I think he's not
Mm,
always around. Like there might be times where he's sort of just, he just kind of pops into places and maybe he's not really doing anything sometimes or he's not always around sort of. I don't know.
interesting. Yeah, that's because that's. I guess I must have missed that line or something, but because there's times when like he's suddenly in the kid's school, and it's like I'm thinking to myself, you know, the first viewing, it's like yeah, that makes sense. They call his his therapist
Yeah,
or whatever,
right.
but it's like wait a second, who let you in? Like, what's
Well,
going on here?
it's interesting. They talk about too how they see what they want to see. The dead people see what they want to see. So like he's constantly in the basement, like reviewing his papers and stuff like that. And he'll talk to his wife, up. He'll yell through the ceiling to her, and he's trying to open the door and it's locked. And he'll pull out the key and unlock it. And then at the end of the movie, you see that there's a table with books blocking the door, so he
Yeah.
can't actually open the door. So it's like
Oh
I
right.
mean, yeah. So it's like he's either just floating through the door or he just ends up downstairs and it's sort of like a blank in his memory. And so he talks about how time is very, he's like, I'm always losing track of time. Like, and yeah, he's, Haley, Cole says they see what they want to see. So there's, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's sort of, he's not a reliable narrator, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also a sad fucking life. Jeez. Well, not life. Damn.
Yeah.
Afterlife.
Yeah, purgatory after yeah, whatever, afterlife, yeah. Yeah, of yeah, it's so well done. And the scene
Yeah.
like at the restaurant with his wife and her not even looking at him and all this, and you think it's just that there's she might be cheating, there might be tension, and then well, looking back, like it's pretty incredible that they pull it off where no one is interacting with him. And
Yeah.
uh it you never think twice about it the first viewing.
Yeah. I mean, there's this scene when the mom and him are sitting in chairs on opposite sides of the screen, in like her living room, I think. And Cole walks in from the door from school and
Yeah.
is walking in and the mom gets up and talks to him, and then she leaves. And then you get
Great
um
scene.
yeah, and then
There
Bruce Willis starts talking, and Bruce Willis for a while isn't even actually doesn't Cole doesn't actually say anything for a while. So it makes
yeah.
sense that the mom's not like, who the fuck are you talking to? You know?
Yeah, exactly. And they do that game of he won't talk, so Bruce Willis plays the go toward the chair or away from the chair. And that scene is just, yeah, brilliant. And on the first viewing, it implies like, oh, they're having a conversation. They're probably talking about his, her son. And then he walks in, and the fact that, like, it implies that they were having a conversation based on where they're sat, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously they weren't. So, yeah, just so smart. And yeah, like you said, with him not talking and like on the first viewing, you're like, oh, like he's probably just nervous with he's a therapist. He doesn't trust him. He doesn't want to talk to him. He's bottled up, and that makes sense. But then on once you know what's happening, you're like, he doesn't want to be talking to a ghost that his mom can't see right in the next room. So like it's just brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is. And also, it's scary as hell. I mean, like some of the scenes are like legitimate horror movie level scary scenes of the the ghost that he sees and all these things. Uh
Yeah.
and it's obviously a very very mainstream movie. And it is also like it's not quite a horror movie. I think it's probably classified as a psychological thriller, maybe.
I think it's a horror slash thriller,
Yeah. All right.
psychological drama. I guess, yeah, a lot of these say drama, mystery, thriller more than horror.
Yeah, it's like everyone's afraid to say horror on like a mainstream movie. Maybe that's changing now with recent releases like Backrooms and stuff. But I don't know. I feel like oftentimes a movie with horror elements, if it does well, it's like suddenly it's like, well, actually this happened with books with the Pulitzer for fiction went to a book called Angel Down this year, which is written by Daniel Kraus, and he's a horror writer, and it's a horror book. It's about soldiers finding an angel that crashed into Earth in a World War I battlefield, and it's very much like a horror book. And yet, like the Pulitzer announcement and all the announcements that go out about it uh, are like they call it like a historical drama or something. And it's like
Hmm.
that is the most bullshit categorization for this movie. It's like, sorry, this book. It's like this book is very clearly horror. Anyways, side tangent. This movie's
Yeah.
not
I
necessarily straight horror, but it does have a lot of like horrific moments in it.
Yeah, especially in the second half.
Yeah.
But it's mainly the drama between the characters is like the most important part.
Right.
But yeah, definitely also the opening scene is so that's Donnie Wahlberg. I had no
Yeah.
idea that was Donnie Wahlberg, and then I was like, what? Do Donnie Wahlberg, like Mark Wahlberg's brother? For he's in New Kids on the Block. He's what? Like it doesn't look like him at all, and just such a like crazy commitment to the performance for just that one scene. And
Yeah.
like that scene, I think is so crucial in setting up like the. I mean, obviously that's when he dies, but you don't know it. And but just setting up like the mystery and like what is really going on and all that suspense, like having it be set up with that scene at the beginning is very effective. And then there's a lot of horror elements with the like in the house he's seeing. I feel like it's a whole family. It's like a family that lived there or people
Yeah.
who've lived there in the past, probably. Maybe it could be multiple families. I don't know if it could be over time, but it seems like there's almost you could put together a story with all those characters. So yeah, I could see it being categorized as horror. It's kind of like with any genre, there's usually like
Yeah.
gray area between genres, sort of like Silence of the Lambs, like thriller, horror, like where's the line kind of a thing. So it's all,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's it is pretty scary, and there's a lot of scary imagery,
Yeah.
but there's not
Yeah.
really any jump scares.
Um, is there any? I wanted to say, like, on the top of my head, right when you said that, I wanted to say maybe there was one, but I'm not sure. Yeah, there might not be.
I don't think there are. There might be some like shocking like cuts to like the people
Yeah.
hanging and stuff like that, but I
Or
don't
when
think
he's
there's
under
a
the
lot.
blanket, he's under the blanket, and
Mm.
there's the ghost that's like throwing up. Was that? I don't
There
remember
might
if there was a jump scare there or not, but
there might be sort of a jump scare. It didn't feel like a jump scare to me to the degree of like the annoying
yeah.
ones that I don't like, where it felt more just a tense scene.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, and that opening shot though, just to go back to that for a second, it totally buys them time in this movie to allow for such a almost half the movie to be just this character drama with a
Yeah,
kid and his therapist. And it's like not a lot of like if you just sat down and it didn't have that opening scene, it would not be a very interesting start to the movie. But because it's
yeah,
already built up and there is that tension also with him of feeling the with Bruce Willis's character feeling like he's failed, right? As his profession, he's failed that kid. He doesn't want to fail another kid, right? All that stuff. That's obviously really big here, but also just that tension that really, I mean, that scene is so tense, and that tension and that drama, or sorry, that like that moment gives you so much time to have this slower drama, and then when it picks up, it doesn't feel as weird that it is
yeah,
picking up because you kind of expected that. So it does such a lot for that pacing of the movie to have. It's almost like a slasher intro, where like you got
yeah.
to get that kill in the beginning so that you can have a time where you just see the characters. You don't really learn the characters because it's slasher, but you see the characters
Yeah,
and then you kill them all off, right? So
yeah. No, yeah, it's a great, great opening scene. Hooks you and keeps you interested in what's going on for sure. Um, but yeah, just also the movie is shot by Tak Fujimoto, who's a great cinematographer, and pretty cool that like M. Night, I mean he worked with M. Night a lot after this as well, but cool that M. Night, this is only his third movie and really his second you know, big production since his first was more of a like independent student film type of situation. But getting an experienced cinematographer. He shot Sounds of the Lambs actually, and then also like Badlands and also some more like Philadelphia, Pretty in Pink, some other Hollywood stuff. But he yeah, just so well shot and very like controlled and well thought out. Like the movie feels like
yeah,
everything is there's no like missing piece. It feels like a perfect puzzle. And like a perfect watch, I guess. I mean, we talked about Christopher Nolan and like his movies being that having that puzzle nature. And I feel like this movie does that really effectively, where like every shot, every scene, every line, like it all comes together perfectly. But I feel like this one also has the emotional element where like you really care about the characters and then the ending just has the emotional like he just lays the hammer down and is like, you will cry. And then there's the last like two scenes and you're like, oh my gosh. And
yeah,
just incredible like ending. The whole movie I think is just fantastic.
yeah. Also, amazing symmetry at the end of like he has to help Cole kind of face the the things that he's seeing and like help that girl and kind of just face all that stuff, and he has to face his own thing and the fact that his wife has to move on and all that stuff, and there's that tension throughout the movie too of he sees her with that guy out front of the house, right? And he thinks, what's this guy doing with my wife, right? Whatever. And then there's a couple of moments like that kind of build up into that uh marital tension. And it's like Yeah, that makes sense, except you're dead. So at the end, he has to actually face that, just like Cole has to face seeing these dead people and what he has to do with
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, that last scene with him and his wife is like the way it's just so well
yeah,
done. And the scene with Tony Collette and Cole and his mom in the car at the car accident is also those like two final scenes are just like perfect.
yeah.
Um, yeah, and I think obviously the movie's about you know ghosts and the afterlife, what happens after we die, the mysteries of that. And but I think the movie's also about like mental health and like communication, where like you can also view it as like Cole is having these mental health issues, and like the end of the movie is him basically communicating with his mom and opening up, and
Mm,
that's part of like them reconciling and being able to like be together on it instead of like keeping her away. And then also there's like the lack of communication in the relationship between Bruce Willis and his wife, and then they're finally able to communicate at the end. While obviously it's while she's sleeping, but she's able to talk to him that way. So the movie is a lot about communication and relationships in that way as well.
yeah, I think that's a really good read on it. Yeah, that's cool. This is Shane's obviously the resident M Night expert here, so has the
M.
good
Night.
reads in all the M Night movies.
That's my
Yeah,
guy. I just there's something about him, he's just the most interesting director, I feel like. And everyone has like differing opinions on his movies. Like some people
yeah.
will think The Village is horrible, or I really like The Village. I think it's one of his better movies, but some people hate it, and then vice versa. Like some people hate Signs, some people love Signs, or the new ones. Some people love The Visit. That one's one of my least favorite. But for some people that was like his comeback, and they really loved it. So he's just a unique director. And I appreciate like how sincere and genuine his movies feel. Like there's not really a lot of irony to them. I feel like it's just a genuine attempt at whatever the movie's about of trying to explore that. And yeah, this movie has that really genuine, emotional feeling.
Yeah, it does. This and Signs are probably my favorite M Night
Those
movies.
are those are also my favorites. I think I have Signs at number one and then this one at number two, but those are my top two. That's just personal preference.
Yeah, totally. I
Um,
also, it's funny. I think I also have that, but I haven't seen Signs in quite as long. But I have such fond memories and kind of opinions on it because of that. But I do. I damn. I want to rewatch Signs. So
yeah, awesome. Yeah, that would be great. I yeah, I rewatched Signs recently and I was like, oh yeah, this is incredible. And I really like Old. A lot of people hate Old, but I think Old is that might be third for me.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have man. One of our early half episodes was on old. Right? Was it a
Yeah.
half episode? Just because we would just want to talk about it.
Oh, I think we did a half episode on Trap,
Oh
maybe.
yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
I think Old was maybe our high concept episode.
Ah, you're so right. You're so
Because
right.
was it Old Dependence Day?
Yeah, Old Independence Day.
Or maybe
What
like
a good episode.
or was it into Olden's Day?
It might have, yeah, yeah, because we were starting to get around with for a little
Mm,
while, we had very simple portmanteau. Um,
no. You got to make it as sweaty and incomprehensible as possible.
yeah, yeah, it makes for a much better, much better one.
And the
Um,
titles really like they only really exist on like the Letterboxd and the notes. I'll put it, and then we mention it in the episode, but we don't actually title the episode because it wouldn't make any sense.
that'd
Like
be
no,
crazy.
it
That
would
would
be
be
no one would
insane.
ever be able to find it. But but it's just
Uh,
fun.
yeah, that would be insane if we started doing that. As April
Yeah.
Fools next year or something, maybe our episode should be titled the title, but we can't do that normally. Um
No,
but yeah, no, this sorry, sidetrack there for some other M Night stuff. But
that's all
yeah,
right.
this movie really is just awesome. And it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's got you know, yeah, it's like an hour and 47 minutes, so it's not quite the perfect length, but it's definitely the perfect length for what it's trying to do. It doesn't overstay
It's
its welcome.
if they cut stuff out, there's nothing to cut out.
Yeah,
It is like a perfect puzzle. I think I
yeah,
don't think anything really overstays its welcome. It's not super fast paced, but I think that works for the tone and the drama.
totally.
Like if you cut things out, you'd just be missing pretty crucial elements. There's nothing. There are no scenes that are like, well, that was a waste or that was pointless. Like it
Right.
all adds up and it all contributes to the weight, the emotional weight of the ending and like how the puzzle nature of it, of how it all fits together and all the clues and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't actually mean that the perfect length for every movie is an hour and 30 minutes, but I think movies should aim for it more often. But this is a movie that I don't like this is a movie that could have been, a 2 hour or 2 hour 15-minute movie that did actually aim for that shorter length, right? Like not that it was, I don't really know,
Right.
but I think more movies should aim to cut out when they can.
Right.
Um,
I know what you mean. This movie could have been like 30 minutes longer and it may have been, felt, extra drawn out.
yeah, but this movie wasn't. I mean, this movie
Yeah.
just yeah, I don't know. This is one of those movies where like uh uh the only thing that I feel weird about with this movie is, and you kind of actually explained this, and so I just didn't catch on to it is the thing, but was the like yeah, it just feels weird that like he just what is he doing during the days? But yeah, you
Mm.
kind of explained that. But yeah, I just didn't catch on to that, which is
Yeah. I think just time is very squishy for a ghost. They're kind
yeah,
of popping in and out and they don't really explain it, but they give you enough. They give me enough at least for me to be like, all right, that makes enough sense to me.
that makes sense. I will say also the teacher scene. There's this scene and
Hmm.
he's yelling this thing at the teacher, stuttering
Stutter.
Stanley.
Yes.
And crazy. The teacher seems to not know where he got that information. So did a ghost told him?
Yeah, I think he's learned a lot from seeing the ghosts, or I don't know if he's talking to them, but I think he's maybe just learned. Well, he must be. I mean, how else does he know about the Stuttering Stanley thing?
And
He
he's
must
certainly
have.
talking to one ghost, at least.
Yeah, right. He has spoken to other ghosts or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but also, yeah, just the idea that the school used to be a courthouse, and that's what the teacher wants to teach about. But also, yeah, it was also this place where, and that's kind of a metaphor for M Night is so big in Philadelphia, right? The heart of American history in many ways, and it's a big metaphor for America's history, right? Where uh, we want to talk about, oh, look at how old this building is, look at how old America is because we've built building, and it's like yeah, and also those are built on the land uh and the blood of slaughtered native people that used to live here. And let's not like be all, yeah, this school used to be a courthouse. It's like, yeah, where they killed people. And he even
Mm,
in that moment, he's even talking about the killing of the people as like, yeah, they were dragging them away from their families and stuff. And
yeah.
the teacher's like, essentially it's just like shut up, I'm talking about a courthouse.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah. 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 And yeah, I think it's also great the way that Cole, not it's not great, but it's portrayed well the way that Cole doesn't fit in and the bullying that he goes through. And I think the movie is really actually like kind of a good depiction of the way people can be like targeted and bullied in that type of way just for being different in some type of a way. Um, so I think that's another like way of looking at the movie of him dealing with that. And oh yeah, Tommy Tomasino, the
yeah, Tommy
the bully,
Tomasino.
the child actor, the poor child actor in kind of a funny part of the movie.
Yeah, yeah, a funny part that's also bullying and like you're
Yeah, I
like
don't know that it's that funny, but it's funny.
uh,
The commercial is funny.
yeah,
A
yeah,
little moment of levity in the movie.
but
I think it's
isn't it,
also. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
there's so many ways to read into the movie, right? Which is just I think one of the hallmarks of an absolutely amazing movie to me is when 10 people can watch the movie and come out with different readings on it, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I agree. but yeah, yeah, I think also the movie like seems very heavy, but it doesn't feel like a slog to watch at all. Like it's very entertaining. Like, you know what I mean? I was just thinking with the Tommy Tomasino, like
Mm.
the commercial, that being sort of a moment of levity. And there's another at one point someone calls someone else a cheese dick. I forget what was the context of that?
The That's Bruce Willis, I think, calls. I think it's through the window when he's in the basement, and the guy
Yes,
that
yeah.
comes to ask his wife if she wants to go out somewhere and go shopping or something with him, and she's like no, so he's walking away, but then he walks back and then he walks away and then he walks back and then he walks away, and when he's like turning around, Bruce Willis is like, yeah, get out of here, don't talk to my wife, you cheese dick.
Yeah, it calls him a cheese dick. That's funny. But I don't know. There's just nice there's it never feels, dour and like, oh, this sucks to watch. It's always entertaining while also being like emotional and stuff like that. So I think that also lends to the rewatchability factor.
Yeah, yeah, it's also one of the few movies where the like usually a kid actor in a movie, you're
Hmm.
not you don't usually want that to be your front man.
No,
But
usually that's a negative. Sometimes you usually,
yeah, but damn, this one really does it. So
yeah, incredible performance. So yeah,
I don't think I have too much more I mean, honestly, I'm just like, I'm changing my rating for this movie because I had it at 4.5, and I'm like, fuck it, we just talk. I'm like, I really like, you can read so much into this movie. It's fucking awesome. And the 4.5 to 5 difference is usually like a little nitpick. And I'm like, fuck it. I don't even know. What am I nitpicking here? This movie's awesome. So I'm giving this movie 5 stars.
yeah. I also gave it 5 stars.
Yeah, this is really the opposite ends of the fucking
Yeah,
IMDb spectrum here. A movie that you gave half a star, I didn't want to rate, and then two
yeah.
five.
It literally could not be a bigger discrepancy between my ratings.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting episode.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's wild. Oh, rating recap for The Sixth Sense. Also obviously pretty high. So Letterboxd has it at 4.1 out of 5. Rotten Tomatoes critic score has an 86%. Audience score is a 90%. And IMDb has an 8.2 out of 10, which brings it to a rating recap average of 8.5 out of 10, which I'm cheering about, not because it makes it into like our top 10 or whatever, top rankings, but because it does beat Leon the Professional, which ranked really high.
Oh,
So
okay. By the skin of its teeth.
by the
Thought
skin of its
Leon.
teeth.
Yeah, I thought there we go. All right. Well, my little half a star rating for Leon will bring it down ever so slightly.
Yeah, and my chicken feeding out of rating it at all, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there is a whole discussion to be had about like how you treat movies like I mean, realistically, what I should have done to treat this movie is just not have watched it. That's how you actually
Well,
treat stuff like this, right? I don't know.
right, but I think the reason I felt fine giving it half a star is because I'm not just rating, oh, Luc Besson's a bad guy. It's actually the
Yeah.
movie itself that is like a disgusting like fantasy of a sexual predator. So the movie itself is so awful that I felt like it was a half a star. So I didn't think I was just rating it
Yeah.
that because of the director being a bad person. I think it was the movie itself was that bad of an experience, basically.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. I don't know. I think
But I'm not trying to
no,
tell
I
you you
know.
have to rate it. I'm just saying that's why I felt like I
Totally.
could.
And I think that makes sense. I think for me, for that one, part of the difficulty is just that like if there wasn't a not extended cut, if there was just the one cut, this is what the movie fucking was, I'd be like, man, fuck this. And I still am. Like I still fucking hate this movie. It was awful. But where there's parts that I liked, like some of the action stuff, especially in the beginning, really like the first, I don't know, whatever it was, 20 minutes or something probably. But like I don't know, it's so hard to rationalize that there is a version of this movie where if it wasn't made by this guy and you just never had this 25 extra minutes, like if this just evaporated. I
But
don't know.
yeah, I
I know
get
I'm
what you're
talking about what
saying, but
ifs.
it's just
Yeah.
not what it is. And I know that there is two different versions, so I get what you're saying. But I just think I don't know, it's like Blade Runner has like five different versions, but I'm like, well, the final cut is like the most definitive one for the director, and it seems like most people consider that the most definitive one. So that's the one I'll go with. And so I feel like for Leon the Professional, I don't know, maybe the theatrical is considered the definitive one by some like by fans of the movie, but it seems like the extended cut is more of the director's original vision. So I feel like
Yeah.
that's the more definitive cut to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, it's a weird situation. Let
That's
me
all
tell
right.
you
You
what,
know,
I
if there
hope,
was ever a movie to not rate, this is probably the one.
yeah. Yeah. Let me tell you what, though, I hope that I'm not gonna have to pick another Leon the Professional.
Oh gosh. If you do, I will be more clear in my telling you that this might not be a good idea. But honestly, like
Yeah.
sure, I had to endure sitting through that movie, but now I have, I had only seen it back in high school. Now I have a more clear picture of my opinion on the movie, and we were able to talk about it, and maybe people will find it interesting. And so I don't think it's a complete,
Yeah.
waste.
There's a world out there where we both watched the not extended cut, the theatrical
Mhm.
cut, and we like looked it up, but like maybe
Did
we
no
came in,
research.
yeah, like, or we did like a minimal amount of research, but like we didn't come in knowing all this stuff. And that's like what really kills me on the rating here. I'm like, I, I know. What if, right? What if an asteroid came in and killed me before I ate my dessert, right? I should just eat my dessert first, but
I don't know what that has to do with being professional, but I kind of see what you're saying.
yeah,
I see what you're saying, and yeah, I get it. You haven't seen the theatrical version. It's all good.
yeah. This is one. Like I was saying at the beginning of the episode, if Letterboxd did have that feature of different cuts, this would be the perfect one to log on the extended cut. It's I don't know.
Yeah, and there's some other movies, not necessarily for the same reasons as this
Yeah,
one, but there are a lot of movies where there are certain versions that are so wildly different that people like they're almost like different movies. So I think it would be a useful feature in distinguishing that in some way that's more clear.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, all
Anyways,
right.
we're still talking about Leon the Professional.
I
We're never
know.
talking about this movie again.
It'll come up. This is now infamous.
Yeah.
We'll never get away from it of the worst movie we ever had to watch for the. Well, now we have a new worst movie. Like before, we were like, I don't know. There was that bad Welsh movie that we watched.
Yeah.
It just wasn't very good, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh yeah, it's definitely Leon the Professional.
Yeah. And at least that Welsh movie, they tried to make like a movie that was about something interesting. At least like more interesting than pedophilia. Yeah.
Well, apparently it was interesting to Luc Besson. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right. Well, hopefully we'll never talk about Luc Besson again on the podcast. Uh, that's that for the episode?
Yeah, it's time to pick
All right.
our
Also,
next one.
shout out to M. Night. Sorry that you had to be on the Luc Besson
Yeah.
episode. At least we already covered some other M. Nights. We'll cover some more in the future. So, that's all right.
This is the interesting way that we do this format where some of our episodes, we have two movies that work really well together.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's just but what happens is on broader topics, like out of the IMDb 250, we could pick movies that are total opposites like this,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And so that just totally happens sometimes. Especially I think now where we don't talk about what we're picking. A while
Yeah.
back we used to pick these live, and that was a whole different
Yeah.
shebang, really. So
Yeah. Yeah. And now we're kind of just surprising each other
yeah,
on the half episodes with what we're picking. So it's really a shot in the dark. But all right. I guess it's time. If anyone's on YouTube, you can see I have a cup. In this cup are a bunch of topics. Ryan already explained this at the beginning of the episode. I'm gonna pick from the cup. My eyes are closed. I don't know if you can see. I have a topic. It says, oh, the topic for our next full episode.
Luc Besson.
How'd this get in here? Directors who are pedophiles? No. So our next full episode, the topic will be zombies.
Oh shit.
There we go. We're
Oh,
we're
sick.
dipping back into horror. And yeah, we'll pick zombies. We'll think about it, and we'll each pick a zombie movie. I don't know. There's a lot of good options, so it'll be
Yeah.
cool to see what we'll pick next week. Stay tuned. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow on the podcast apps. Disclosure Day. It's coming out. If you're listening to this on the day it's released, then it's coming out like tonight. So we're each gonna watch it, and we'll have our review for Disclosure Day out next week for our half episode, and then also at the end of that episode, we will announce our picks for the zombie movies on our next full episode. So stick around. We appreciate anyone listening. If you're still listening to this insane episode of a wild pairing of movies, we appreciate it very much. You can leave us a comment if you want on YouTube or on wherever you're listening to this. Give us a 5-star rating on the podcast apps if you would. We very much would appreciate that. You can follow us on Letterboxd, Mind Your Movies, all one word, and in the bio, each of our individual profiles are also linked, so you can follow us there. And then yeah, I guess that's it. Hopefully our choices for the next episode work a little better. Don't forget to mind your movies.